Good afternoon. My name is John Selman. I'm the Vice President for Student Services and Administration. I'd like to welcome you to our annual Veterans Day ceremony. I'd like to introduce Jerry Conrad, who is going to be our Master of Ceremony. Jerry.
Take it away. Good afternoon. Welcome to the 95th celebration of what was called Armistice Day, is now called Veterans Day. It's a memory of and honor of the people who have served in the military, in all branches of the military, wherever they were asked to serve and whenever they were asked to serve. And this is to honor them today. It's a tribute to them, and I thank you for being here and joining us. Those who have served to help preserve our way of life, preserve our country, our dignity and our self-respect, and we thank all of them. Would the ROTC cadets from Muskegon please post the colors?
Attention, forward, march. Color guard, halt, left, face, halt.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shoreline Barbershop Chorus will now sing our national anthem. Please join with us.
Present on.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red rockets flared first in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the whole of the brave.
Order on.
It's an honor to introduce the 10th president of the Muskegon Community College, Dr. Dale Nesbury.
Thank you very much, Jerry, and thank you all for being here. As a son of a World War II veteran, it's always an honor and a privilege to stand before so many of those who have served this nation for so many years. And if we could all give a round of applause to all the veterans who are here today, first of all. Please join me in helping them. Thank you. We do have a number of individuals here on our stage and in the audience I'd like to honor prior to having the event begin. We have Senator Jeff Hansen to my left and Representative Colleen Lamonte to my left as well. And I believe we have Chairman Kenneth Mahoney of the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners with us. Is Ken here? I don't see Ken here, but Mr. Mahoney should be here. Roosevelt Park City Council member Melissa Close, I believe, is here in the audience. Commissioner, here, I don't see her here. And I have a couple more people, if I could flip my page over. I know that Mayor Gary Neeland of Norton Shores is here. Is Gary, you're to my left as well. Nice to see you, Gary. And then we should have Dave Island as well. I don't know if Dave is here as well. And I believe we have at least one trustee of Muskegon Community College, Nancy Fry, is to my right. So thank you all for being here as well. And thank you all, Dr. Selman and the committee, for preparing this event as it is done every year. It's an honor again to be here. And also I'm getting my wife out there as well. Hello there, lovely spouse. And so thank you all for being here again. I'd like to turn this event back over to Jerry Conrad if I could. Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, Dr. Nesberry. Our invocation will now be led by Sharon Sprouse, the Muskegon County Council VFW chaplain.
Thank you. Oops. Shall we pray? Almighty God, whose great commandment is that we love our neighbors as we love ourselves, and who has taught us that we should do unto others as we would have them do unto us. We ask your blessing upon these humbled veterans and their families, who are your angels of strength and love and mercy. We give you praise, Father. Amen.
We will now have a selection by the Shoreline Barber Shop Chorus under the direction of Annette Jersevic.
My allegiance.
Nancy Fry, who you've already met, currently serves on the Muskegon Community College Board of Trustees as Board Secretary. She is active in her community and has served as a county commissioner. Nancy is a proud veteran of the United States Air Force, where she served as a sergeant, a court administrator, and as administrative specialist. Please welcome Nancy Fry.
Thank you, Gary. I said Gary, it's Jerry. There's a Gary and a Jerry in this town for years, and I'm continuously getting them confused, but this is Jerry Conrad. Dr. Nesberry and Dr. Salmon, thank you so much for saying, yes, this is the right place to have this veteran ceremony today. Would you agree? Especially for everyone who's been out in the cold earlier, and there are a lot of us who are here. The veterans who are here have been recognized by Jerry, but at the same time, I see a veteran in uniform. Thank you for doing that today. And I know that there are veterans out there, and I would like all of us to be able to recognize them. If you can stand, would you please stand so that we can say thank you? Thank you. One of those veterans who stood was my husband, a 24-year veteran of the Air Force, and I only put in 4 years, so I feel like I almost tried. It was good. It was good. Today is the 75th anniversary of Veterans Day. In the year 1938, it was approved by the President of the United States as a national holiday. Armistice Day, it was called at that time. Officially, Armistice Day was named Veterans Day in 1954. There are more than 22 million veterans alive today. The largest number of living veterans are from the Vietnam era. There are 7.4 million of them. Afghanistan and Iraq come in second at 2.5 million veterans. Soldiers, sailors, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, Marines, they safeguard our freedom. We owe them our lives. We owe them our future. They have not avoided the most basic and cherished responsibility of the citizen, the defense of our country. You've taken time out of your day to remember men and women of character who continue to believe that this country, by putting life and limb on the line without qualification, was worth what they sacrificed. Our military men and women have earned recognition and respect. And we are gathered here today to make sure that they know we care. So I'm asking you, before you leave today, why not make every day a Thank a Veteran Day? It may be the first time they've heard it. Thank you, and God bless America.
Gotcha. We are honored to have the Muskegon Community College Jaywalkers with us and presenting at this time. Their selection will be the military medley, and we encourage all veterans to stand when they hear the singing of their service song.
the active and retired members of the United States Army could please stand for the caisson song.
The dusty tread and those caissons go rolling along. Pound, right and down, hear those wagon soldiers shout, and those caissons go rolling along. For it's high, high here in the village of the Reeds, the long and numbers are strong, and wherever we go, we will always know that those caissons go rolling along.
If the active and retired members of the United States Coast Guard could please stand for Semper Paratus.
Apparatus is our God, our fame and glory to fight, to save, or fight and die. I Coast Guard, we're all for you.
If the active and retired members of the United States Marine Corps could please stand for the Marines hymn. Active and retired members of the United States Air Force could please stand for the Air Force song.
Into the wild.
The active and retired members of the United States Navy could please stand for Anchors Aweigh.
Happy voyage home.
Our next speaker is Marine Corporal Jonathan Mendicelli. In 2009, Jonathan joined the Marine Corps as an infantry machine gunner and was subsequently deployed overseas twice. His first deployment was serving as a member of the Marine Expeditionary Unit, during which he traveled from country to country, training military forces in allied nations. His second deployment was in 2012, just last year, during which he served as a platoon squad leader in Afghanistan. Jonathan's 4 years of active duty ended in January of this year. In that same month, he became a student at Muskegon Community College, where he is preparing for a career in sports medicine and is an active member of the Honor Society Phi Theta Kappa. Please join me in proudly welcoming Marine Corporal Jonathan Mendicelli.
I was hoping Jerry would do that. That was for me. All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad you guys bared the weather out there to come today. It's a real honor to see you all here. As Jerry said, I come from the infantry. Ever since the war started, I was drawn to the infantry and that lifestyle. When it started, being in high school, I was very impressionable, so all I took away from it were the stories of heroism and everything that came with that, and I wanted a piece of that. So a few years later, I enlisted into the Marine Corps, and 3.5 years of training later, I finally got my chance to go to Afghanistan, and felt like my dreams were finally coming true. So August 11th, 2012, that's why I was in Afghanistan at the time. It was a very early day. We started at 4 in the morning, which I haven't done since that day, thank goodness. And right from the get-go, it was a very action-packed day. There were firefights left and right. And, I thought, this is it. I was ecstatic. I couldn't wait. These were my dreams coming true. I was going to get all the glory. I was going to be able to experience war. And so we get to pushing out on our mission. And within an hour, we made our first contact with the enemy. And I had to reevaluate what I thought glory was, because I had to watch one of my fellow brothers step onto an IED and blow himself up. And at that moment, you think, where's the glory in this? What's so glorious about this, about death? And then I started looking around, and I saw all of my guys doing exactly what they were trained to do. I saw them providing cover for each other. I saw them providing care to the wounded Marines. And that's where I found the glory, is in the men to my left and right. I looked at my gunner, 19-year-old man, and he was willing to die for me and for everyone there. But not just us, he was willing to die for my family and my community, our way of life, and our freedom. And it's days like today when I reflect back on my veteran status, and I get to be honored to count myself as a member of all the men and women who have served and who have sacrificed everything and were willing to do anything for me and for my family. And then to top it all off, I get a day like today where I get to witness a community and a school coming together to recognize those sacrifices and to honor all the vets. And it's fantastic. If you guys could stand here right now and see what I'm seeing, it's beautiful. So with that, I would like to thank everyone who made this day possible, between organizing it with the committee, the people who physically set all of this stuff up, and all of you guys for coming out today. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Jonathan, well done. And in appreciation for your speech today, and especially for your service to our country, we have a certificate for you for being a speaker for this event today and for your service. Thank you very much. As you entered the gymnasium this afternoon, you may have noticed this table. It's a special table. And we have with us Steve Allen from the VFW, who's going to explain the significance and the importance of this table. Steve?
Good afternoon. It's my honor to be able to present the POW MIA table, which Gary just said sits over there. You may notice this small table here in a place of honor. It is set for one. The table is our way of symbolizing the act that members of our profession of arms are missing from our midst. They are commonly called POWs or MIAs. We call them brothers. The table is set for one. It's small. It symbolizes the frailty of our prisoners against his oppressors. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. The single rose displayed in the vase reminds us of the families and loved ones of our comrades in arms who keep faith waiting for their return. The red ribbon tied so prominently on the vase is reminiscent of the red ribbon worn upon the lapels of the breasts of the thousands who bear witness to their unyielding determination and demand a proper accounting of our missing. The slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate. There is salt upon the bread plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait. The Bible represents the strength gained through faith in our country, founded as one nation under God to sustain those lost from our midst. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight. The chair is empty. They are not here. Remember, all of you who served with them and called them comrades, who depended on them for their might and aid, and relied upon them, for surely they have not forsaken you. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. We have a very special person among us today, and I'm going to introduce him. As I do, please listen carefully and try to let this sink in. Our next speaker is Mr. George Hartman. George was born and raised here in Muskegon. He was also a staff sergeant, a tail gunner, and an assistant radio operator with the 8th Air Force 390 Bomb Squad, serving on a B-17 during World War II. On his 23rd mission, his plane was shot down. He was captured by Germans and was sent to Stalag Luft 4 prison camp. In February 1945, George and nearly 8,000 other POWs were forced to march 15 to 20 miles a day for the next 86 days, during some of the coldest winters in recorded history in Germany. This forced march covered over 500 miles, during which pneumonia, diphtheria, typhus, trench foot, tuberculosis, and other diseases ran rampant among the POWs. They ate charcoal to help stop dysentery, and every POW had lice, infected with lice. Many lost a third of their body weight. But heroic acts among these POWs were universal. The stronger helped the weak. The ones fortunate enough to have a coat shared it with a buddy. Our speaker today, George Hartman, is a survivor of that march. And after the war, he served on the board of directors for the 390 Veterans Association. It is an honor to have him with us today. Please give a grateful and thankful welcome to Mr. George Hartman.
Thank you very much. This morning I gave a talk out at the Causeway at the Veterans Park out there, and I have to say that I'm still shaken. It was quite cold out there, and I appreciate all the people that attended that meeting. My field was the Air Corps, and I would like to give you some facts on that. We have two men in this country. There were two Toms, Tom Hanks and Tom Brokaw. I'm sure you've heard of both of them. And Tom Brokaw wrote a book about the greatest generation. I would ask a favor, if there's anybody in this audience from the greatest generation, would you please stand, please? The greatest generation was born in the 20s. Some of their parents, some of their grandparents, some of their uncles and aunts were probably in the First World War. The First World War, I remember growing up, was a war to end all wars. I haven't got enough hands to count the wars that we've had since the First World War. But they were born in the 20s. They went through the 30s when we had the Depression. I just make a couple comments on that because they went to Washington and they petitioned the government and they got a pension in about 1935. I think it was a flat $500. I can remember in the Depression, I went to work at the age of 13, 10 cents an hour. My favorite sandwich was mustard with sugar on it. I can't eat it now, but it don't even sound good. But I'll tell you one good thing. I do not know if there's any beer drinkers in this party today, but you could buy premium beer for 3 bottles for a quarter at that time. And if you wanted the cheap beer, you could buy 4 for a quarter. Now that's enough of that. Seriously, I'm one of over 15 million veterans that served their country in the Second World War. I'm one of them. Each one of us had a job to do, and they did it. I ended up as a 20-year-old as a tail gunner on a bomber. And I would like to give you a few facts about the Air Force if you haven't heard them at all yet. We ended up in the 8th Air Force in England. The 8th Air Force, people don't realize, had more casualties than any other unit in the Second World War. They had 53,000 casualties. They had 26,000 killed in action. They had 38,000 that were prisoners of war. That was the 8th Air Force. Our 390th was assigned to the 8th Air Force. The 390th through 301 combat missions, and in that 301 combat missions, we lost 159 B-17s. We had 640 young men that were killed in action, and there were 731 of us that were prisoners of war. The B-17 came out in the 30s. It went online in 1939. There was a little bit of competition because they made B-24s, and they were made in Detroit, Ypsilanti. At the end of the war, they were producing 2 B-24s a day. Can you imagine that? And they only cost a little over $200,000. There was a lot of competition between B-24s and B-17 crews. But what I didn't know, during the war, with young people trying to learn to fly a bomber, in 1943, we lost over 2,000 young men trying to learn to fly the B-24. They never got to combat. I'd like to mention a couple missions that we went on. When you were a new crew, you got the poorest position in a bomb group. And on September the 16th of 1944, we went to Warsaw, Poland, because the Germans were massacring the Polish people. 110 bombers went on that, and I was a tail gunner, and they put our plane, the last ship to go over the target, and I was a tail gunner, and I was telling you, I was shivering. But we flew to Russia. We were in the air for 11 hours that day. When we got there, we had to go in low to get these bombs or these guns and ammunition and food to the Polish people. When we got to Russia, the plane had over 100 holes in it, but not one of us was hurt. Fantastic. On October 9th of '44, my pilot saved my life. I was a tail gunner, and when you were back there by yourself, all you could see was a person's back. I passed out from lack of oxygen, and when you're at 28,000 feet, you don't live very long. It's 40 to 50 below zero, and the pilot came back and saved my life, so I'm here today because of that. The roughest target when I was flying was oil. When they first started out, the B-17s, I don't know whether you have ever heard of the Memphis Belle. Anybody ever heard of the Memphis Belle? Let me tell you, let me give you some idea how tough it was for those young men. I came later. The Memphis Belle was in the 91st Bomb Group. When we went overseas, we all named our airplanes. Ours was named, somebody had it before us, and they named it Ain't Misbehavin'. Well, the Memphis Belle, when they went over, one of the crews named their airplane a short snorter. A short snorter was something created, anybody that flew overseas to combat had a $2 bill, and they called them a short snorter. To make my story short, there was 3 of them in the 91st Bomb Group. All 3 of them were shot down. All 3 of them. They made a total of 20 missions, and they lost 86% of their crews. That's how tough they had it. The fighters, when the fighters would leave them, the German fighters would hit them. When I was flying, we contended mostly with flak, but you never knew when the fighters were going to be there. The mission I was shot down was the worst target. It was Mersburg. It was synthetic oil, and we were leading the 8th Air Force at that time. I'll never forget. And the navigators made a mistake, and we flew over a town of Zeitz that had a bunch of master sergeants there that when it come to anti-aircraft, and they shot the living daylights out of us. When the navigators made a mistake, when we finally got on target, they had an IP point. When we finally got on target, it was the most horrible day I ever witnessed. I put it this way, when you were kids, when you played hopscotch on the sidewalk, that's how much flak they were throwing up at us. You could almost play hopscotch on the flak. The black flak was 88s, the light flak was 105s. That mission, we finally got through, and I said, thank God, thank you, God. But on that mission, the lead ship, right after we got off the target, the tracking flag picked us up, and they were right on us. They were right on us. The second burst of about 8 shells, it hit the lead ship, and if it folded to the right, if it folded to the left, it would have got us. It folded to the right, and it took another B-17 down with it. That day, we lost 7 out of 12 B-17s, 7 out of 12. The Air Force made 12,900 B-17s, and during the war, we lost 7,000 of them. When we got out, we tried to get back. We finally got down to 1 engine, and the pilot told us to bail out. When I hit the ground, there was a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, was in a field looking down, and I waved at him, and I said, you know, we're 200 and some odd miles inside of Germany. What should I do with their strength in numbers? I thought, well, I would go down and be with him. I couldn't speak the language, the snow on the ground, and then there was a noise behind me. It was my engineer, and we took off, and they caught us 24 hours later. 3 days later, in interrogation, I bumped to another crew member, and I said, where's Pete? He said, Pete's dead. I says, he can't be dead. I saw him, he waved at me. He said, George, he was killed by a civilian. I won't tell you how, but he was killed by a farmer. And what was so unusual, we're suffering with PTSD now, and a lot of our kids are going to be coming back with that, and we got to make sure that we have a good program for them. It faced our crew, because the man that told me that this young man was dead carried that to his grave and never told anybody else. This man's wife came to visit me from the Upper Peninsula, and she asked me, "Where's Pete?" All I could tell her is what I knew. What I heard was hearsay. I said, "Just talk to my friend, my other crew member." He says, "I didn't see nothing." So he carried it to his grave. He could not tell people that one of his friends was killed by a civilian. Anyway, they put us in a prison. It was made for 6,500, and there was 10,000 of us. February 2nd, we started to walk, and I would ask you to picture this. Have you ever went 86 days without a bath? Have you ever went 86 days without a drop of hot water? Toilet articles were at a minimum. We slept in barns, we slept in fields, we slept in bomb craters. We buddied up with our blankets so we could keep warm. I left with a pair of shoes, 2 pairs of socks. Dysentery was rampant. I lost my underwear, my long underwear. I was going to lose my pants, but I had to wash them because I had to walk. I stood for a lineup one morning with the Germans counted us in the dead of winter, in a snowstorm, in my overcoat and a pair of boxer shorts. I can laugh about it now, but that's what happened. They put us in a camp, just a couple more minutes. They put us in a camp. They walked us by Bergen-Belsen, where thousands of people were killed. They put us in a camp, Fallingbostel. Fallingbostel was a prison of all nations. They put us in a tent, 500 of us. We slept on straw. For those 86 days, we lived on about 800 calories a day. So you can figure right now a soldier will get probably 25 to 3,000 calories a day at base. We lived on roughly 800 calories a day. So we were getting thin. But every day at Fallingbostel, they would have a funeral ceremony, and the cart would take out the bodies. I went one day to see these people. Some of them had been prisoner for years. They were walking sticks. I couldn't go back. But it's just things that I try not to think about it, but that's what happened. And we were finally liberated by the British on May the 2nd, and I got home June the 12th, and it was a great homecoming. I got a couple of things I'd like to throw out to you right now. I have a book. They call it The Last Escape. It was written by 2 British authors about the march that I was on. I didn't write it, but I was with 10,000 other people. They wrote it if anybody's interested. Our bomb group has a museum in Tucson. If you travel, don't fail to stop in there. We just gave up our bomb group 2 years ago because there was only 30 of us at the last reunion, and our kids are taking care of it for us now, trying to keep it going. It's run all by donations. My only thing, somebody asked me how you could do that, and I said, somebody had to do it. Somebody had to do it. And you didn't make many friends because your friends might not be there the next day. I went to a parade downtown. One of these gentlemen right here will remember that, and I didn't know they wanted me to say a couple words, and I closed it with this things. Wars settle nothing. Wars just make enemies, lest we forget. Lest we forget. Thank you.
Mr. Herman, as a thank you for your service and for your contribution your fine contribution to this program today. We have an award that we'd like to give to you as our thanks from all of us. And now, Colleen Lamont from the state of Michigan has a special tribute to veterans.
I'm here to present a tribute, a special tribute from the state of Michigan, signed by Senator Jeff Hansen, Representative Marsha Hovey-Wright, and myself, honoring the veterans of our county for the sacrifice and service that they have given to our state and to our country. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And now we will have a moment of silence for our deceased veterans of all conflicts, for those who are prisoners of war or those that are missing in action. That will be followed without announcement by a 21-gun salute, the playing of taps, and the retiring of our colors. Please join me in a moment of silence.
Order, on. Hold up. Right face. Forward, march.
tradition to conclude Veterans Day program with everyone joining hands and singing God Bless America. The Shoreline Barbershop Chorus will start with a short introduction, then Flo Predko will lead us all into singing. Please join hands.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home. My home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home. America, my home.
All right. Dr. John Selman will now conclude our program.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor and a privilege to be a part of the ceremony today, and I hope that all of you feel that way too. Gathered here this afternoon, we humbly join the rest of America today in saluting the men and women who served to protect our freedom. And veterans, today you are also applauded by millions of people in scores of countries around the world. I believe I speak for millions of Americans when I say to our veterans, welcome home. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the sacrifices, and thank you for the sacrifices made by your families. And thank you for protecting our freedom. And in closing, thank all of you for coming today, and may we always remember what our veterans have done for us, and may God continue to bless this great nation. Thank you.